LinkedIn company profile, how to optimize pages for SEO. You are now tuned in to the Marketing Club, the We Don't Play podcast show, the space where we create amazing conversations, the place where we actually help you to learn. And this is where we actually give you information that you can actually connect with. So this is going to be that room. This is going to be that room. And that's the room. This is a room that you have to think about as a business and ask yourself, okay, what are we doing and how are we connecting the dots, right? So I'm going to lead by example, right? And make sure that you can also get to see the page, right? I want to lead by example so that you can also see the page. You can get to see exactly where we are when it comes to what it looks like, right? And there's so much, there's so much that I'm excited about to share with you. So welcome to the room, y'all. We're gonna get this show started, and I'm going to just put this link in the chat, not in the chat, at the top of the room actually, to make it even better. Boom. Yeah, so that's the LinkedIn link to the company LinkedIn profile. So when you are looking for, companies and thinking about pages and optimizing for SEO, this is going to be a room that's going to help you take care of that, right? And when we think about content and we think about the people that we're connecting with online, we have to very well consider our content. Like, what are we showing up online for? What is the website that we're using? And if we're on social media, what are the platforms people are using to find our content? So this is going to be an exact room that you'll be able to see and actually have an idea of how this should actually work for you. This is a thing that should really help you take action with your business, which is to make sure that you have the right information, you have the right content, you have the right, technically you just have the right way of doing things, right? Because today's room is going to help you learn how to optimize your LinkedIn, but more specifically, how to optimize your company profile, because your company profile is important. If you don't have one, this is the best time to start one, because when you have one, you are technically telling the world that you have a company that is potentially capable of delivering information and solutions that actually help your business thrive, right? And the thriving of your website is dependent and is proportional to how you show up online, right? In fact, I'm going to get into this place and show you exactly what I mean. This will actually be even more helpful because, yeah, it's good to see a company profile. I think it's even better to see what could be happening behind the profile that is also giving the profile a lot of information that you can enjoy, right? So I'm going to actually put this here. All right. So this is something that you can definitely get to see. And yeah, huh. All right. All right. All right. This is actually going to be good. Yeah, 280 subscribers. All right. So I'm going to put a link here, and this link is also available for you if you are listening to this. Please make sure you click the link in the chat or click the link in the section where you are seeing the descriptive notes, and you'll be able to see this too. So this is a big thing that we have to think about. So yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna say this, right? When you are creating content on LinkedIn, you are building connections for long term lifespans, right? And when you are doing this consistently, right, there's a level it gets to, and there's a level it reaches that you have to really ask yourself as a business, where are the top locations that my business can be seen in, and what can we do about how people can connect with us online and also offline. It's a big thing. And when you look at the big picture, right? The big picture is, how do we get this seen? How do people get to, connect with us? And where do we get that information from? When we're connecting with businesses, we want to know, like, okay, this is a business. This business is it's a real business. Hey, Vet, good morning, welcome. Let me add you back. You know, this is where you really ask yourself, okay, how do I determine whether this business is actually the one for me? Welcome, Kay. I'll follow you back too. I didn't even know you were both following me. So I just checked your profiles. Thank you so much for being here. And this is a marketing club. And if you click at the very top of the marketing club, you see a blue hand, like a hand, and then with like holding a phone with the blue icon. In there, you click on it, and then you join the marketing club. We're 349.6K members. Rahul, too, welcome. And we do this on a daily basis. We had a room yesterday. We have a room tomorrow, same time. We have a room the next day. So I don't want you to miss out on these rooms as well. Tomorrow's room, we're talking about, our websites relevant for 2025? How do I secure my data, or my data? So please make sure that you are here. Good morning, Yvette. Thanks for checking in the chat. So company profiles are big, because those company profiles are pointers that will let you know what your business is all about, right? When you create a company profile on LinkedIn, one of the questions they ask you is to identify your industry. Why is that important? It's very important if you look at the bigger picture, when you consider the fact that your company is within a NAICS code, right? You're already within a business industry NAICS code when you create your business legally. Then on top of that, you have a business that is operating within an industry. It's either the advertising industry, the real estate industry, the food industry, sports industry. It has to be an industry. It can be anything you want it to be, but the industry is going to be something that you have to identify. Then when you identify that, you find out, okay, how many are we? What's the company size, right? You're optimizing your page for SEO, your LinkedIn profile, company wise. So when they ask you the number of size, like, what's the size? Is it 1 to 5? Is it 1 to 10? Is it, 11 to 50? Like, what is the size of your company? Is it, 100? To 500. So when you start looking at those numbers, you're optimizing your page in the process, because what you're technically doing is you're directly telling the web that this is how we operate as a business, and this is what we do to gain more business. So if our business is doing the usual, then how do we take this to the next level if we don't do it correctly, right? What is the goal that we have to consider here, right? What is the factor we're looking into? What is the idea we're trying to represent, right? What is the mission we're trying to achieve? What is the step we're trying to take, right? What are the goals we're trying to achieve, score, be a part of? What is that major drive that's driving us? This is something we have to look out for, right? This is something we have to think about. You know, how do we operate? How do we create content that actually makes sense that people can see? Because those things we're putting on the settings is not just for setting's sake, right? Welcome, Latrice. You know, you have to ask yourself as a business, what are you putting on LinkedIn that people are seeing, right? I'm literally closing in on, I'm at 9.9K followers on LinkedIn, and I was stuck at 6K on LinkedIn for about, Lord knows, because I started 2016, March 2016, like seriously. And yeah, that's about what, 8 years? Yeah, give or take 8 years. And I was like, this is stuck mode. Like, what are we doing at 6K when we should be at, 5 figures? So I said, okay, there has to be a difference, because one of the things I learned very quickly, in marketing, because it's been 11 years doing this month, September 20th. What I've realized very quickly, very, 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 very quickly, is that the moment you don't have a website that is representing your business or putting your business on the map, which is on Google or any other platform that is a search engine based platform, and now with AI involved, you need to also add yourself there, then you're missing out on real estate, missed opportunities, potential consumers, and attractive people who can be attracted to your website, to your business, to your brand, because you didn't answer a question. That's the simple missed opportunity. You didn't answer a question. And how do you know what question to ask, right? Hey, Julie, welcome to the room. The question to ask is this you? That's in its literal sentence, in its literal format. Is this you? In other words, you fill in the blank of the question that people are most asking, and you answer that question, and the person that actually wants to be the connector, right, is the one that actually gives that response system to the benefit of the person searching for it. So if I'm going to answer the question on if it's real estate, okay, are you a first home buyer? Okay, what have you been doing that has, what are the 5 steps to securing your first home, for example? So that is this you question is happening there, right? And if you're now answering the question on 5 ways to secure a first home, in the process of answering that question, you're adding context to let them know that, hey, we not only are we telling you what we do, welcome, sister girl, and we're not just telling you what we do, we're also telling you that we do it. That's why you're on our webpage. Yesterday, I talked about web pages versus social media pages versus landing pages. It was a very heated topic because a lot of questions came in, and we had to set the record straight, because we don't think about web pages and social media pages and landing pages when we're thinking about business, because we're focused on the admin. We're not focusing on the operation, right? So if I have 10, actually, let's not do 10, let's do 9, because Instagram has 3 rows. Sorry, three three sections per row. So if we have 9 blocks, and these 9 blocks are on Instagram, if they're on Instagram as 9 blocks, they should also be 9 pages as web pages on your website. Now, if you have a LinkedIn company profile because you're putting out an Instagram post for your business, your LinkedIn should be having social media relevance, so that people that are on LinkedIn can also know, hey, we're also on Instagram, we're also on TikTok. How will they know that if you're only posting on LinkedIn and you don't give them a link to your other platforms, or even a link to your website where they can see that? So you have to consider how people are connecting with you, right? What is the major driver? What's the driving goal, right? And is this goal a goal that you want to achieve? If you want to achieve this goal, you have to ask yourself as a business, what is the major pointing factor? What is the major driving factor? Am I going to just drive information through the roof? Or am I going to take my time to answer these questions that people are frequently asking? So that anytime they ask this question in the future, I'm right there to answer it for them. And when I answer that question, that trust is built. If I keep asking you questions, and the moment I keep answering and answering, the more answers I'm giving you, the more you're able to justify if my relevance, if my consistency, and if my accuracy of delivery is satisfactory, to your taste. So if that is not the case, then you're probably going to leave. But if it is the case, and if that's what you're enjoying, then you're going to stay. And when you stay, you connect deeper. And that deepness starts off with the relationship building that constitutes to email marketing, right? Email marketing is a big thing. It's a huge thing. Like the link you see at the top is a newsletter I wrote. Right now, we're about 280 subscribers on the news feed. Julie's in the room. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Favour. Sorry, I'm on the treadmill right now. I hope it's not too loud.
Hey, let's get it. Let's go. Let's go, Julie. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So, guys, yeah, it's action, right? So it's how you take action. How do you move? How do you make this happen? Because if you are creating content, right, and your content is succeeding, one of the things you notice is that you're getting good averages. Because if you look at this, you know, digest, that's what I call it, because I called it digital, what did I call it? Digital marketing digest. Yes, that's what I called this specific, newsletter. Because I also have a newsletter personally. It's called SEO 101, and there are almost 2,000 subscribers there. I think it's like 1.8K. So that one has been growing, and that's big. With Work and Play Entertainment, we have the Digital Marketing Digest, because that's also a place people can actually get to learn about digital marketing. So we've not even gone too deep into that section, because but we also want to keep building the momentum, right? And that was 3 months ago that was posted, because we got to 1,200 followers. We hit 1,200 followers. I was like, oh wow, this is actually huge, because for you to even get a follower on LinkedIn it's hard. Talk less of you getting a follower on your account, right? It's pretty damn hard, but it's also very easy if you set your mind to it, right? If you also consider the differences between the time you're investing on the platform and the time you're placing on the off the platform. So when I was stuck at 6K, I said, okay, I'm going to use this 2024 to really improve, connect with people, build, and it kept going. It kept going. All of a sudden, I'm seeing more LinkedIn followers, more LinkedIn DMs, more LinkedIn emails. I'm just like, oh wow, this is really happening, because people used to say, "Oh, LinkedIn works," and in my head, I was like, I don't know how this works. I don't know. Is it really working? Is this mic on? That's the same thing I said with my podcast. I was like, is it really working? Are we really? Is it happening? Now, fast forward, we're in 117 countries, and we're on LinkedIn, and I'm almost at 10,000 followers, because I said, let me just connect to these people. And how do I connect to them? By showing up on their feed. Like, that's the first thing. That's the first agenda. Show up on their feed. Because if I'm not on their feed, I'm not feeding them. That's why it's called a feed, a news feed. You're feeding information that you didn't have. Headline news, breaking news, weather news. This is information I'm feeding. So if I tell you the weather is going to be raining at 3 p.m., you're probably going to be home before that time, because you don't want to be outside in traffic, right? Because that's something you were fed in the morning that you're using information as for the day. Just like when you eat food, You're using that energy for the day because you're burning calories, right? Julie's on the treadmill, right? And it says, like, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm gonna make sure my day is, done correctly. And it gives me the power to actually do better because I'm able to take care of my health. I'm able to take care of my mind. I'm able to take care of my connections. And I'm able to take care of, what matters the most to me. Hey, Cammy, I'm here rhyming and everything. So it's amazing how you create content online by giving people the ability to actually spend time with you as well. So think about it as a business and ask yourself, how do you optimize your page on LinkedIn as a company? You have the name, you have to put in the size, because you have to put in the company size, you have to put in the business industry, you have to even put the type of corporation it is. Is it privately owned? Is it public? Is it like what is it? Is it sole proprietor? You're gonna have to put those things in there. Then it's gonna ask you for a website, and most people leave that blank, or people put their Instagram, or they put their page, a page that maybe doesn't really relevant. It's not relevant to that. Hey Nozzle, welcome to the room. Good to have you here, Maya and Dr. Alicia. Thanks for joining. You know, so you have to put those things in there, right? Make sure you put those things in the middle and ask yourself, okay, am I really, really, really putting my Instagram account on my LinkedIn company profile? That shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Hey Jason, welcome. It shouldn't be, because if that's what it is, then it also says that you are not really optimizing your page for SEO, because SEO means search engine optimization. You're optimizing the engine for searching for you. That's literally the reverse psychology process of SEO. Search engine optimization means that you're optimizing the engine, you're modifying the engine, like you're fixing the engine, you're breaking down the engine, like you're a mechanic for your website, if that makes sense. You're creating, like you're fixing the problem. You're putting the battery, you're changing the wires, you're adding paint, you're doing the interior, you're putting links, you're making it look pretty, you're putting a logo, like you're making it stand out. Because this engine is gonna run. And if this engine is running, people are gonna have traffic. When there's traffic, you can't be in traffic if your car is not working. Like it's not possible, unless you're stuck, and nobody wants that. So you don't want to be in stuck traffic either. So you have to think about your business and ask yourself, am I stuck? If I'm stuck, why am I stuck? Okay, I'm stuck because I'm not answering questions on my website that people can find online that they can use on the web to actually stay on my page and then connect with me. And then they can leave their contact information with me because actually they want to connect further. Those are the missed opportunities. Huge. Because if we don't think about those opportunities now, your competitor is, and your competitor is probably getting the contacts you should be having. But you don't know that because you don't even know you're not even aware of the problem. That's the worst part. So when you are aware that you are optimizing your page for a platform that is going to give you access to information and communities that can build your relationship with them over time, then it says a lot. My company has 1,200 followers on LinkedIn. That's not easy to have in 11 years. And and don't consider the 11 in total because I started LinkedIn in 2016. So let's cut off the other years, from 2016 till now, that's 8 years, So to get one follower to follow your company, why am I following your company? I don't even know what it is. I don't know who it is, who is in charge of what. Like, why am I following it? There has to be a reason. There has to be like, you don't follow every company on LinkedIn. You follow the companies you like to follow. So if you're followed as a company page, then that tells the people that your page is optimized for search, that people actually enjoy your content. And that way you can grow. Now, in that was 3 months ago, it was 1,200. Today it's 1,211. And the last post I made was, I think, 3 days ago. So when I look at it and I also look at how it's connecting to other sources, it's just activity. You don't see a company page updating every time. Like if you really go to a company page, yeah, they're updating unless they're like Target, they'll be updating you every day. But if it's like a company that is doing like a service, they'll update. They'll probably update you with news information or product news information. So it's different. So the game changes because of your industry. But when you enter that industry, you end up even in a ranking because your company is actually put in a ranking, in a top 10 ranking. There's a section that also says similar companies to follow. So you put other companies that you want to connect with, just like on Facebook. You know, on Facebook, how you can have your Facebook page, and then it tells you choose other pages that you actually like, that you want to see how you rank, when you go against them. And you can do the same thing with LinkedIn. So when you create that on LinkedIn, you're actually seeing the companies you're actually looking at. They're like, oh, how are these guys doing? Okay, per week, they did 28 posts in a week. This company did 5 posts in a week. This other company gained 138% in, response. When you see those things, it tells you how much you're doing and how little you're doing. So those are the things that you need to do. And we're going to go deeper into this, but I wanted to at least get the surface of the road and get it started. Julie, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn? Then we come to you, Cami, then come to you, Jason.
Sorry, I was just sprinting. Can you go to me next or
Yeah, I'll
last?
come to you last, Julie. Sorry for keep going. Let's go. Let's go. Cami, what you thinking?
You said, what are my thoughts on what exactly?
LinkedIn companies,
LinkedIn.
like your interaction experience with that.
Okay. Well, my interaction with LinkedIn, I think, is a great opportunity. I know you were talking about a little bit on optimization. Um, and so I really like LinkedIn in that it allows you to connect with other professionals. I really like that they added the audio feature, and it is important to optimize it. LinkedIn has so many different features for you to showcase who you are, from the SEO of the different expertise areas that you have, to even getting people to write recommendations for you to show some social and business professional credibility, to even put in examples of your work in a bio. So I think it's really important for people to optimize LinkedIn so that they can continue to showcase their authority and who they are. And I think it's a great resource that honestly a lot of people don't take advantage of, who are either entrepreneurs or still within the entrepreneur, or not in the entrepreneur, but in the career realm, especially because they do have audio rooms. That's another opportunity for you to engage and interact with people. Another thing that I did want to add, that I think a lot of people miss on optimizing their profile, is that thumbnail that's at the top of their personal page. And I think that's a great opportunity for you to showcase your creativity, for you to continue to tell a story on your personal and professional and or career brand, so that people can be attracted to your profile. I'm all about creating irresistible ways of people, but also to being aware that people have to you have to earn people's attention and earn people's attraction to your page, and then find creative ways to keep them there, which is showcasing who you are, and utilizing all the different tools of LinkedIn and all the different features depending on what your final goal is. So those would be some of my insights.
Thank you, Cami. That's so true. Honestly, it's the best decision you can ever make for your business, because when someone sees your LinkedIn profile and then they see your company profile, it also shows that you do have a business that's connected, and that's real estate you can actually have, digital wise on the web. And you know how some businesses, have Fiverr or have, the hire out and stuff like that. It might be hard, but I don't know how you do it. But I think there's some ways you can go around it, especially if you have your own business and you have a team. Like for me, I have a team, and even with the people on the team, on LinkedIn, they even go ahead to say we're working at this company, at Work and Play Entertainment, on their profile too on LinkedIn. So it also shows that there are people who are working at that company. So it's not just, oh, we have a company profile. have people working at this profile. That's why when they ask you your company size, they tell you, is it 1 to 5? Is it 6 to 10? Is it, 10 to 50? What is that number? I think yes, 1 to 10. And then, so how do you create that expansion, by still adding relevance to the brand? So that's definitely, a good one. And welcome, Brandon. I'm just rhyming today. What's up, Jason? And thanks for joining today. Welcome, Lance. I will come to you after. Jason, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn?
I have mixed reviews about LinkedIn because I'm just going to say it in being polite to your topic and to your room. Not everybody has a brand. Uh, I think there are a lot of people that want brands, but as I've been going through the branding process myself, I look at each platform is this an extension of me that I want others to know? Do I have something to sell, provide, or inform with? And I have been reluctant to really invest in LinkedIn. I looked at it as a possible opportunity to maybe, have an extension of a brand that I'm making for myself, of me, with my shows that I'm developing, man to man voices and stories and sound off tune in. Those are my podcast experiences. These are going to be interviews. And when I started exploring LinkedIn, I started looking at all these pseudo profiles, and I'm like, there's no brand here, none whatsoever. There are people with impressive resumes, there are people with impressive companies to work for. But when I'm looking at, a lot of them don't have brands or performances. And the people that do, you see heavy activity. You see that they make what I've learned in other rooms with other creators on Clubhouse about subject matter. Like, for example, how to connect with your people, communications. Tick tick up a word like, or pick a word like communication, and look for articles on LinkedIn. So, I mean, in that sense, it can be great, but there are many people that, I'm just sorry, you're boring, you don't have anything, you're just regurgitating, or you paste and copied somebody else's work and then used AI to manipulate it to something that where people can get you noticed. And as I learned, I came in here because I saw your title, because it is unfinished and uncurated work for myself. My profile is very just like half done or quarter done. But the reality is, there are people who have way more experience, and I have to evaluate the question, will this platform serve me as I serve it? Because it doesn't get its meat and potatoes without people like you and I, or anyone else, putting something there for people to be interested. But there's one thing I won't do, I won't clout chase, but I'm curious to know more through observing and not just trying to say, oh, it doesn't work. Because a lot of the people that say it don't work, you don't have a brand, you don't have nothing. So, you know, like, your personal experience can be a brand, but it's not always a brand. So I'll just stop there.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a huge one. I really appreciate that share because it's important to ask yourself, like, what is your brand and what is your brand representing? As you were speaking, I was thinking, I was like, wait, huh. Hey, Carrie, welcome to the room. And, you know, thank you so much for being here. I was like, huh, okay, with LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, then yeah, you have a company profile. But at the same time, that company profile also needs to have a company website. And when you have a company website, it needs to have branded and non-branded keywords. So it's like, how do you optimize those pages, but optimize it in a way that you stop getting spam messages? Because a lot of people, one thing they say about LinkedIn is they get a lot of spam messages, they get a lot of spam in mails or emails, or just like they even get emailed on spam too, right? Because their LinkedIn is connected to their email address, right? So you get emails both on your email, your ESP, your email service provider, and your actual LinkedIn. So you stop thinking about, even you might even miss out on opportunities. If you meet people in a room, connect them on LinkedIn, in there, it's more personal, right, than it is outside when you do it on an email because it's stretched out. So there are ways you can really keep that intimacy within the connections that you create, and that's how you even get deeper. So you're so right about that. You have to be a brand, and that brand has to stand out. And if it stands out, then you already outside LinkedIn. That's showing that someone outside LinkedIn can still learn from you as much as they do when they're in LinkedIn or on LinkedIn. So thank you so much for that. Lance Renault, we'd love to hear from you. Good morning. Thanks for joining the room.
Hello. Um, do I just come in on the topic or
Yes,
how is the
please.
setup?
We'd love to hear from you.
I use LinkedIn. I have two profiles. I've been trying to figure that out because of the algorithms. It's a whole different thing when it comes to geographic mapping and your audience. I've also used the premium side of it. I've used the creator side of it. I have a creator profile. It's connected to, I guess, LinkedIn top voices, but the energy that I put in to be a top voice, I have to realize who I am and what I'm here for. Do I own a podcast? Am I taking myself being a top voice in, is it a funnel to something, and what's the conversion rate versus how much energy I put out? Um I actively use LinkedIn as a founder of a corporation for the people that I do meet in real life. Um, I use it also for character validation as well. I use it for kind of new opportunities. It's more so on the executive standpoint since I am a CEO versus just connecting with people. And I feel like if you're just a W 2 worker, you may not see the value of LinkedIn because you already have your job, especially if it's a secure job. There are many people that I knew, and me, for example, when I was working for the federal government, I was do the same shit, go to work and come home. I really didn't need for LinkedIn because I wasn't really looking for jobs. I was in a very stable place of employment. So at that time in my career, LinkedIn didn't really serve me. But as a corporate owner, now I use it every day. So I feel like it just depends on who the person is and what their purpose is and where their goal is taking them. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, you're super right about that. Because a lot of people use LinkedIn for jobs. Most people do. And most people use it for jobs more than business because they also want to just put their profile. Like you see, their last update was 2020 because they're not really using it because if you look at their experience, they're working at a place that they've been staying at for a while. So you're right. People don't use it for that. And LinkedIn has creator mode. LinkedIn also has an opportunity for you to verify your ID, right? And now you have that ability. And for me, because I fly a lot and I travel, work, it's I love traveling and working. So
Okay,
it's
great. Let me get some frequent flyer miles. You donating? What's up? Let's get to the real topic. What's good?
let's get it.
Where's your
I put
what's
I,
your
I put
network of airlines? Huh?
I put y'all on game. Nah,
Cammy,
Cammy coming for me. Hey.
We were just
Cammy.
talking about travel yesterday. That's why.
Yeah, I'm traveling. I love traveling because, when you have that, I remember when I connected my LinkedIn, the first release, it was a Sunday. I can't forget that day. After church, I'm driving back. I'm looking at LinkedIn sending me a notification saying, verify uh your verify with your government ID on LinkedIn with Clear. And I'm like, Clear? Because I have Clear, because I use Clear when I'm flying. So I don't go to the TSA, it's just straight through. And that saves me time. So I don't have to be in wait, sitting, going through that line for 30 minutes when I could have saved that 30 minutes and used 10 of it to go through security, go through TSA, go through everything, exactly, flight mode, and go. So when I connected it, I already know Clear have partnered with Delta. So when you have a Clear account and you partner with Delta Airlines, they've already partnered with Delta Airlines. So if you're a Delta Sky Miles member, then you pay a discounted annual fee because of their partnership. So that's what I did. And I was like, oh, bingo, LinkedIn, ID, Clear, Delta. Like when you think about the whole framework, it's like, why not? And now, according to Boardroom, I talked about this yesterday. Go to Boardroom on Instagram and scroll down. You'll see that over about 58, I think it's 58.2% of CEOs globally prefer using LinkedIn as their point of reference when it comes to making business decisions and connections. So we'd love to hear from you, Lancer, on that. And I'll come to you, Julie.
Yeah, because you know that you're attracting the working population, and if I go Facebook, if I go Instagram, it's not really organized. It relies on the people to organize themselves, and many people are trying to figure out their lives. It's like going on Tinder versus, I don't know, eHarmony. One is more committed by paying a monthly subscription to find love. Other one is probably in the halfway house of getting halfway out the house of a relationship and seeing what's on the other side before they jump, you know? It's crazy.
That's wild.
What I said or what I didn't say.
What you, oh, both.
Hey man, it's all
No,
good.
no, no. I love that. I love that. No, you're totally right on that. It's something to look at because you have to see, like, what's the bigger picture. What is the main attraction point and what is the goal you're trying to achieve? Because it's like it creates that experience that is not even justifiable. Like if you come on somebody's website, what do you expect them to have there? What is the next thing they need to take? When you also have your LinkedIn profile, you have options. Like there's an option if you have it on your profile, if you have a LinkedIn creator account, you can put your URL at the top. Like literally if somebody's looking at your profile, right underneath it will say like book appointment or request services or visit website, depending on what you put there, and someone can actually click on that. That's real estate. But not every profile has that on LinkedIn. I remember when LinkedIn released video, like TikTok. I was in the beta. I don't even know if it's available to everyone because it still shows me beta on my LinkedIn profile. So I was swiping up and I realized
What's your
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn?
my
You put in,
LinkedIn,
yeah.
let me actually put it. I'm actually posting our room here on LinkedIn. So
Recorded? Oh, take me off. I don't
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no. On as like as a post. So yeah, so that when you think about LinkedIn, it's a connection. So you want to put out your LinkedIn and you want to connect with people long term by using a platform that allows you to really see how that takes you to the next level when you connect with people on base level, and then also using voice is also a great thing to use too. I put the link in the chat because I'm still on that page, Lance Tronot. But this is how you think about your business, and you want to see how you are creating content, where you're connecting with people. What is the real goal? What is the main goal? And if you're doing this to really make connections, LinkedIn is a great place to do that. But as you're doing that, you also have to think about the people you're connecting with. It's not just going to be a bunch of people. Those people have to really, really make sure that you have that connection, and that connection makes sense to them. Because when they see your LinkedIn and they connect with you, that is the start of the conversation, depending on how you showed up online first. So this is how you have to think about your business online, by creating the system that allows you to stay connected to the people who you're connected to. Because if you're not connected to them on LinkedIn, that's something that's going to change. If you imagine if you don't have a LinkedIn account, how does that even help? You know, those are some things that you wanna see as well as a business. So yeah, I want to pass it to you, Julie, and we love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? And I don't know if you're ready.
I'm okay. Thank you, Fave. Um, I mean, LinkedIn is a great place to connect, right? If you can get through all the loud noise, it's a great place to find a job if you're looking for a job. And I think you have to figure out how to network in a smart way because, as we mentioned before, 10,000 spams in my messages. it gets old, right? So you have to figure out how to really make those connections, not be a spammer and ignore the spammers. Thanks, babe.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you gotta ignore the spammers. 100%. Hey, Soda, welcome. Billy, I see you too. Richard, thanks for being here. And Iris. Yeah, you gotta ignore that. You gotta, take that off completely, because if you're looking at those things as the, connecting factors, you have to also think about what are you connecting to? Who are you connecting with? And there's so much that you can do, but you also have to do those things in a sequence that is actually acceptable to people who want to learn from you, because that also creates an experience in itself. You know, you want to also think about, like, what is that major goal? What is that major need? What is that major desire? What are we really doing to build that as well? I just posted it on LinkedIn, just like a post, and I tagged you guys as well, because I did actually in dark mode and also in light mode, because when you think about the connections online, people are looking at it on their screen. So how do people connect on screen? How do they connect off screen? So it's a really good thing to build. So I have actually connected with you. Yeah, I got you, Landstronaut. I'm about to accept it. Boom, there we go. We
Oh
connected.
yeah, I don't like that. No, no, no. Mm-mm. I don't do that.
Or
I
you
don't.
don't? Okay.
I don't. Yeah, yeah. If you notice that, like my profile on here
I.
is as a corporate business owner on the one,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like telling people where I'm at, like where. I don't do
Oh, I
that.
see what you're saying. Okay. 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 All right. Bet.
Yeah, if you see, like, I only have a couple hundred followers. There are people that look for me, and like Clubhouse for me,
Ooh.
the place that I literally keep in a silo away from my outside. I don't connect all platforms. There are people who do that and they integrate, and it works well for them. But
Mm-hmm.
I like the synchronicity of keeping different parts of what I do in my life separate. That's why I don't have people from my outside life coming in the clubhouse, and I like it that way. There may be people
Mm.
who like it the other way in which you operate, but I definitely no.
Okay. Yeah, it's off. It's gone. It's literally like a tada. It's out of there. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
get
but I
you.
can
I definitely
understand
get
you
you.
as a curator, like doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but like people who are in a formal capacity like me, I would run away, and that's probably why a lot of corporate business owners, they stay in the audience. They don't want to be on stage, or they're careful in which rooms they go on for that reason. Especially if I frequent your room and people want to hear what it is I have to say, or I have my hair down and I'm just chilling, it could kind of hurt my brand. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I know your replays are on, so I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm even on this app in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes to the goals and the vision and the mission of Lisa the Landstronaut as a public figure, right? So for me in leadership, there are things that I need to know to say versus not say. And I felt like this was kind of like a mock trial of being able to speak to people from all over the world and having a certain cultural decorum, and knowing which things are culturally and religiously and spiritually kind of offensive and things like that. But in order to do that very well, I had to actually put myself in those places at the lowest risk. So when I am going to be hiring personnel or dealing with people from different countries and diplomats and stuff, um, I kind of like lower the risk. So that's the sole purpose of me being on this app, aside of meeting beautiful people like you guys. So,
No, I appreciate that. So for you, I can see, because it's different domains, different platforms, different communities, different people, different setups. So it makes sense, because sometimes some people want to have an omni-channel experience or have an omni-channel presence. Some people just want to have a linear presence or just that dedicated space that they can be in. So it makes sense. It makes total sense as well. Guys, there's some new news I just saw and I want to just share with you. So now TikTok is officially TikTok is officially competing with Google Ads because TikTok just released search ads campaigns on TikTok. Like you can actually do like ad groups, keywords, bids, optimization is something is big because somebody can search on the search query and they can find you there. So if companies are going to be spending money on ads, on TikTok, that's a great thing because it also builds community. But here's a missed opportunity when you have something like that on TikTok, but you don't have a website to send them to on your website where they can land on your page and actually connect with you further by leaving their contact information. That's usually missed opportunity because if someone's going to find your company or connect with you, they're going to see you on Google, they're going to check you on LinkedIn. So those are very important spaces to to think about and consider, because when you look at Clubhouse, I'm looking at it as a space where it's like, I don't know, it's a whole different thing. Welcome Skylar, welcome to the room. you know you have a business that is based on connections, and sometimes I'm wondering, okay, everybody on LinkedIn, everybody on Clubhouse, everybody on social media, they have their own thing. Hey, they have their own thing. They have their own business. They have their own, goals. So if those goals are being achieved, what are they using their online presence for? When you hear online presence, presence has to have a feeling. Like if you're in the room, you should feel something, right? So that's the major thing you have to think about, right? So when you're trying to make connections, especially if you have a podcast, if you have a business, and you're connecting with people, these are the things that happen because I'm here every day. I don't know what's going to happen. Only God does. I'm just here making sure that you are informed about some things that sometimes you may just overlook. This is not YouTube. You can find this on YouTube after, but you're not really going to get that information if you don't look for it within, right? So, what is the real question you're trying to answer, right? Some people do faceless content. Why? Because you don't want to have those things. That's totally fine. People are introverts, some are extroverts, some people are ambiverts. I'm an ambivert. I decide, like, I can be in a room you don't even know, and I can be in a room that if I leave the room, I left the room. So it depends on, what you want to give and like what's your real intention of connecting. That's me, so that's how you also connect with people. It's not easy. It's not easy to connect with people like that. So using your content is a big thing because you see, when you start getting to use your LinkedIn to connect with people, and your company is also the business that you're running to operate the workflow, then there are things you have to think about. So when you optimize your pages, you're building, right? You're building, you're building, you're building, you're building, you're building. Because the more you build, the more you see that building from afar, right? If you build a skyscraper, right, you're gonna see that thing from a distance. But if you just build a house somewhere, you probably have to drive to the entrance, right? So how big do you want to build this building? Like you have the land, so it's your vision that's going to decide, is it going upwards or is it going sideways? How are you going to determine that? Using LinkedIn is a great source to do that, because when you have a company profile and you're optimizing your pages, you're connecting it. Now, if you have a podcast, this is for you. This is for you. This is exciting too. If you have a podcast, when you have a company profile, you can connect your RSS feed at the back in the settings, and your RSS feed automatically pushes notifications to your LinkedIn profile, and you can post to your community or your company profile on LinkedIn to let them know about your podcast. So you're publishing an RSS feed post, but on top of that, you're putting a link to your website. So that's a double whammy. That's like a boom boom. That's a win-win, right? So you have the RSS feed pushed from LinkedIn, and then you have your link on your website pushed. And what happens on LinkedIn is that both links become a LinkedIn mask post. Because whenever you post a link on LinkedIn, you don't see the same link you post on LinkedIn. You see a short URL. You see a redirect, right? Because LinkedIn kind of creates a mask because you don't want to have all those long links, and LinkedIn is very clean, right? So you want to create those things as well, and you want to build that. Brandon said this earlier, and I was coming to it, but I was trying to make sure that I could cover that, and he said something really good because he said he's had success with LinkedIn, and Brandon has gotten long contracts, but it's also super stiff. It is super stiff. It is super stiff because how do you break through pages, like especially company pages? How do you even have followers? How do you create those followers, and why will those followers follow your company? Right? It's not for everyone. And internally, they are going through massive updates, which is true. I expect big changes that will happen within the next few months. And currently, the networking bots and farms have messed up the whole experience, especially with the whole AI responses and everything. It's fine, but I think it also has a limit too. So definitely, he's also said that the UI is lousy. It's hard to find the newer features with how it's set up now. Like, live events, it's hard to almost find, people. That is true. Almost impossible on mobile. Yeah. So there are things that they're changing. And Hello Soda, they're changing them, right? So he's right. There's some things that, you have to think about. And that's how you think about the platform and how that platform is actually going to play into your business, right? Like, do you do it correctly or do you do it incorrectly? Cami, how do you do it on LinkedIn, and how do you use your community to leverage? Do you keep them in one place or do you open them up to other people?
For me, I'm always using different platforms like LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Instagram, and other social media platforms to funnel my people to one location. So I actually use Discord to keep my whole community in one place. And then I use that as like the home base to let them know where I might be going, whether it be an event or a platform, like a social media platform that I may be present on for different things going on. But I think it's important to choose a home base, whether that be Discord, or I know some people use private Facebook groups, or some people use GroupMe, some people use Telegram, whatever it is. I always suggest to use one. That's the way I do it. That's the way I've seen work. It's kind of like being in high school and you have your homeroom, and then you go to classes, and then you come back to the homeroom like once a week. So that's how I run mine.
Okay, okay. That's a good one. Thank you. And definitely, I think that just shows, the consistency in what you're doing, especially when it's intentionally trying to connect with somebody when it's local or when they come to your city because they know, okay, this person's in this city, and that also makes it comfortable. I don't think, like, think about it actually. On Instagram, on TikTok, on other platforms, you don't really get to see somebody's profile and get to see what city they're in or what state they're in. You don't see that a lot. If you really think about it, Facebook, Instagram, you can see that on Facebook, yeah, where someone lives or where somebody stays. That's visible, but who uses Facebook? Not a lot of people. You can have it there, but when you're doing it professionally, where do you want people to see you? Company wise, profile wise, business wise, otherwise, personal wise. So you ask yourself, where is that going to look best and where does that look like it could really resonate the most? And that is LinkedIn. So when you see somebody and it shows you their location, it's like, wow, okay, I can actually connect with this person because they're a local base. So that even starts a conversation in the DM. A lot of people don't use, voice message on LinkedIn DMs to actually build that connection. For me, it's something I do because that way I can talk to you and I can say what I need to say instead of crafting it or drafting it. But if I put the link in the chat or put the link in the right after the voice message, then I mean, you can literally take action after listening to that information, listen to that message. It's faster, it's more accurate, it's more precise, and it's also focusing on the goal in itself, you know? So you have to think about those things and actually look at your business and the long-term effect of what you're creating for other people too. So yeah. So this is how to optimize your page for SEO on LinkedIn. Think about your personal profile first. Think about what you're showing people on that profile. Is that profile beefed up enough for you to take them to yours? If you're working with a team, let your team also tell their profile or their connections that they're working at your company. That's real estate of allowing their connections to follow you, especially if they're reposting your content or connecting with you or making a comment. It's big. When you leave comments on LinkedIn, it's big. Another thing I want to let you know too, if you take this action, do it seriously, and actually implement it, you will see a difference in the numbers of people you follow. That's why, for me, I'm getting almost 10,000 followers. This is the key. I'm going to say this one time and one time only. So here we go. When you make a post on LinkedIn, you're going to do two things. You're going to repost it to other groups that you're connected to, because when your post is approved in a network on a group on LinkedIn that has 2,000 people, 200,000 people, 2 million people, you start getting seen because you keep posting. If you post it one time, no one's really going to see it. When you post one time in a sea of 20 million people or 200,000 people, even 20 people, how you really get seen? So the consistency in reposting your content to those groups is what's going to make it count. So like you have to keep posting. Every time you show up, you repost your post onto a group's post. So when you're doing that, you're also telling them to turn the notification bell on, because on LinkedIn, there's a notification bell on everyone's profile. So if you tell them to turn the notification bell on, whenever you make a post, you're going to get a notification that Favour, Obasi, EK, MBA, MS made a post or updated a post, right? Because that is what you're going to see on your page. That post, you can come in later, you can see the notification, you can click on it, you can swipe it, but you saw it. It showed up. When you do a LinkedIn newsletter, you get a notification. Like right now, as I'm speaking to you, I literally just got a LinkedIn notification, right? So that's how you do it, right? That's how you connect. Like when you connect your LinkedIn, it just changes the whole game, because your LinkedIn is no longer like a pillar post, if I can put it like that. It's a dynamic page, because your profile is not just a page on a screen. It's a page that actually gives you substance. It gives you connections, and ultimately it gives you dominance online. Because when you're leveraging LinkedIn's domain authority for SEO with your website, you have a LinkedIn newsletter connected to the LinkedIn. All those things are linking in. So the more you're linking in, the more you're connecting outward. So think macro, not micro. So thank you so much for, you know, listening to that, because if you take that action on those two things, those things will really, you know, for joining the house influx. Thank you for being here, Hector. How are you, man?
I'm here. I'm listening in. I see you doing a workshop. So, what LinkedIn company profile? How to optimize pages for SEO? I'm listening in. How you doing today, Favor? How's everybody doing? What's going on,
I'm
everybody?
good, man. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I have workshops actually that I am scheduling out for the last quarter. And this is like quarter, in the fourth quarter when you watch, a football game or a basketball game, that fourth quarter, everybody's eyes on the game, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in that last quarter. Everything in the first three quarters, yeah, yeah. Let's rock it out. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Let's move. Let don't stop. You got to keep going. But when you hit that fourth quarter, it's like it's like, okay, let's see where do we got to pump it up a little bit, because you want to get to that finish line, right?
Wouldn't this be the time that we start looking at all the numbers that, like the things that matter? Like if you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn has analytics, right? Or
It
no?
does.
So, wouldn't this be the time to take analytics, maybe throw it into ChatGPT and say, hey, make me better? Maybe use like Make.com, little things like that, or what do you think? Because I'm not into LinkedIn, so I'm like totally new. I have an account, but I don't really use it.
Okay, so I'll use my own LinkedIn profile as an
Go ahead,
example.
go look at me. Don't beat me up too much because we're recorded. But go take a peek
Why is
at what it
everybody
is, and
freaking out today? What's going on, Clubhouse? Y'all, I mean, this is Clubhouse. We out here. I'm being recorded. What?
hey, I don't do replay rooms. That's what it is.
Oh
I
my!
usually stay in the
I know
audience.
you. I know you do. I know you do. I don't. This is. You're the second person that's come in the room today that's talked about recording. Like in my head, I'm like, okay, I respect that. You know, I'll make sure I make a manual action so that nobody feels uncomfortable. But I also know that hey, this is Clubhouse and people are connected. So, and I appreciate that. You know, thank you for saying that. You know, for me with my LinkedIn, right? I have, I'm going to my profile right now. Boom. All right. So on my LinkedIn, the industries that are actually in need of, this is my profile, not even the company profile, because it stems off the company because of the post that I make and what people are seeing, right? This is wild. Let me share this with you. So I have a long list of industries. And this list comes from consistency in pushing content. And sometimes when we look at industries on LinkedIn, when it comes to companies and of course industries within company sets, we don't look at these companies and realize that these industries that are literally at the top of our list are the very things that we should be talking about when it comes to content marketing and context optimization. Right. So for me, this is my long list. Advertising services is at the top of the list with 23.2%. IT services, that keyword is services. That's a major keyword, services. Advertising services at the top of the list. So people are looking for advertising services. I've not even gone down the list. And the industries that at the top of the list is advertising services. So what does that tell me? 23.2 of my audience out of the 9,900 people are interested in advertising services. Why? Let's find out. So we start connecting the dots and start letting people know, how do you advertise better? When I run podcast shows or episodes about advertising, how to make money with keywords, those are the things that people lean more to. Those are the episodes that get more downloads. So I'm like, okay, I see what you guys need, because I may not know that until I talk about it. So when I don't talk about it, I won't know if I should even, mention it. So advertising services is first. Then IT services and IT consulting. Consulting is another keyword. Services, consulting. Like this is in plain sight. That's why I'm like, I'm not researching this. It's literally in front of me, right? This is second party data that I'm acquiring for information I can acquire to use for first party database, right? So it's the longevity on what you're creating long term that's going to give you that tenacity over time, right? So looking at that is a big thing, right? The next one is software development, then business consulting and services. There it goes again. Public relations and communication services. So I'm seeing services a lot. So a lot of people are looking for services, which means they're looking for what? SEO services, consulting services, advertising services. So even when I'm also advertising the business and when we're also putting it together, I'm not just saying we do SEO, because someone will be like, okay, you do SEO, we don't do advertising. And you can't blame them because that's what you said. You know what I'm saying? Like saying nothing is saying something. So when you look at it, you have to look at the bigger picture, right? So what are you not saying? What are you saying? So that's another one for me. Media production, broadcast media production and distribution. That also tells me broadcast, podcast, because you won't see podcast in the list of industries. But when I see broadcast media production, that tells me that's podcast, because broadcast media is production and distribution, and podcast is all about distribution. And that's the only one on the list that says and distribution. So distribution tells me broadcasting, syndication, media, podcasts. Like it's right in front of me. Then financial services, then professional training and coaching. So that professional training is now where these workshops are coming from. Now that's about 4.1%. Higher education, nonprofit organizations, hospitals, and healthcare. We've built a lot of healthcare websites, for companies, companies that have clinics, we've built websites for that. We've done SEO. So I already know the audiences that are coming in. We have clients in those spaces, entertainment providers, writing and editing, wellness and fitness services. We've worked with mobile massage companies, right? How do they do wellness and how do they, connect the dots? Technology, information, and internet. I'm just giving you guys the list that I have: accounting, staffing, real estate, and musicians. And then when I go to the locations, it's a whole new list completely. And that one is just deep because now from there I can go into zip code marketing and then market advertising services to the companies and locations that I can see. So everything for me is there within the LinkedIn profile. And if I'm able to use that information, LinkedIn has something called an inside tag. That's how I'm getting this accurate information. Because when you read my article, you read my newsletter, you read my link, you read my repost, you click on this link, you connect to me, you view my profile. Those interactions are called click rates. There's a way, there's a dynamic to it. So there are things that you have to think about as a business that really gives you into that shape. So when you look at it like that, Hector, when you use your analytics and your analytics are telling you things that are happening on your website, then you can even run ads or even at the very simple base level, use LinkedIn to make connections that actually make your business sustainable. Hope that helps.
I was downloading the app right now and finding my
The
password.
LinkedIn
I
app,
just put in LinkedIn right now.
the LinkedIn app.
Yeah, because I just got upgraded my phone, so I haven't downloaded all the apps. Because
True,
I'm a firm believer, if I'm not gonna use it, why am I gonna install it? So I install the apps as I'm using them, and then like LinkedIn. If I install it now I'm gonna go through all the parts. I got it on my computer, I got it on my phone. Now we go click on all the links and update everything because I haven't used it.
true. I'm about to check your LinkedIn right now. Let's go. So let me see. Because I know you have your company profile on LinkedIn too. I think I saw it one time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's under the company name.
Okay. Okay. I'm searching right now. And then when you search, you see people, you see posts, you see companies. Okay, boom. So you see, I typed in at the top influx entrepreneur and your name came up first. How are we not even following each other? Okay, so I'm connecting with you on LinkedIn right now. Boom. All right, connected. So when I look at your profile, you have your banner and it says create a product online. If you were to flip that because your picture is already on your profile, instead of you having your image on like if I think about the rule of thirds, if you're on the right side, I would have the text there and then blur out the other side and let people know exactly what they're going into or what you want them to learn about you just by I'm not even scroll down on your page because I'm treating your page as a heat map, right? Because when you look at social media pages, I think I had a topic about this a while ago, how to treat your social media page like a heat map, meaning that at the very top, if somebody clicks at the very top of your page, that's where they land because that's a landing page. They end up on that section. So after they hit that section, it's for them to scroll down to find more information. So that information I'm looking for has to be available to me at the very top of the feed. So if I'm seeing create a product online, now I'm curious, what products do you have? But if you were able to say workshops, courses, things like that, or just have an ability for them to, like mine, if you look at my profile, it just has a door and it has a light bulb, and on the door it says open to work, literally. So somebody already knows what that means. So if you knock on that door, you already look at my profile and you already see what we're working with. So it's like direct response marketing. So it allows you to use imagery, say less with more. And then, you're able to, connect that as well. So that's something that you can do. So when you look at that profile, you connect those dots, you're able to build it from there. Then I can see your influx entrepreneur. Let's go into that. Let's go into that. So your profile, where is it? Let me go to the companies tab. Oh, wow. We need to do something. So I clicked on influx entrepreneur. I see it on your experience tab, but when I hit on it, it takes me back to the search, and then I don't see the company profile. So are you able to lead me to the, because normally when you click on it, it should take you directly to the company profile. So that's something I've already just spotted.
Where you at on that?
I'm on your experience section. So hit on your profile, scroll down under activity, experience. It says influx entrepreneur full time.
Resources, features, activities, experience. Okay. I see
Hmm.
experience.
So when you hit on influx entrepreneur, that section that has a favicon should have your logo. So when I'm hitting on it, it's not taking me to your company profile. It's taking me to the search bar, and that's where I'm seeing your name again. But I'm not seeing your company profile.
I see founder. So you
Hmm.
click, what are you clicking on?
So what I'm
The link.
clicking on is the experience. You know when you go to experience,
I'm
right?
I'm there on the experience. I'm in that box.
So you see like education, for example,
Yes.
like for your school, Columbia University. So if you hit on that, if you hit on that logo, it's going to take you directly to their company profile.
Okay, so let
You
me
see what I mean?
founder, full time, influx, Georgia, location, current working, um, profile, ad skill, ad media.
So
It's
this is what
just
it's telling me.
it's just media and skill. It's just a picture and
Right. So that's the thing now. So you don't have a, like, you know what, before I say it, let me go on Google, because if I Google your name, it should have your website and it should have your LinkedIn on Google listing. Okay, so I see influx entrepreneur, I see your website, I see your Facebook, I see your LinkedIn, but your LinkedIn is not your company profile. That's what I wanted to fact check before I say anything. I see everything else,
I don't
but
know if
your
I
company,
created a. I don't know if it's a company. Let me see.
that's the thing, right? So you have to create a company profile separately from your personal profile. You have the word influx entrepreneur. That's why you're ranking on search, because you have it in your descriptive text, you have it in your about section, you have it in your experience. So there is something attached to that name, but that name is not classified within a company profile that someone can click through. So that's the missed opportunity that I was talking about. So those
So
are
how do
things.
you how do you upgrade to the business? Advertise, sell, group, talent.
You don't really upgrade, you just create a company profile. So when you use your desktop, you're gonna see like nine blocks, like nine boxes, those little dots. When you hit on that, you're able to see like all the results. So when you now click on your profile too, at the top on the top right, you'll see where it shows your profile settings and all those things. At the very bottom, you'll see it create a company profile. You'll see create a company profile, and you'll also see create a showcase page. So create a company profile will be a free profile you can create for Influx Entrepreneur outside your profile page personally. And then the word Influx Entrepreneur will allow you to upload your logo, put your company size, put in your descriptive text, talk about your type of corporation. Is it a C Corp? Is it an S Corp? Is it an LLC? All those things, you'll see it all there. And then is it privately held? Is it public? Like all those things will be there. And then once you connect everything and you put your website, eventually when you type in influx entrepreneur on Google, they'll see your name, and they'll also see your product name or your
I
business
see.
name. You see, it's a different thing because that's two listings. So on Google, you have one listing, but you could have two. So you're missing out on real estate too.
Yeah, I updated. I'm updating it now.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking. This is a workshop, like in real life. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to do these things. Sometimes people will listen to it. That's 5% acquisition, but if you actually take action on it and do it, you'll see a difference in your business. It's those little things. Like I don't have to be paid for that. It's something that I'm giving because I know it's informative. It's something that you can Google, but what do you know what to Google if you don't know what you're Googling? So you got to know what to Google, know what to write, know what to say, know what you're saying in the first place. Is it making sense? Is it adding value? Is it going to give you substance? Are you going to just get a result, or are you going to get a pack of results? A local pack, a 3-pack, a 6-pack? What are you looking for? So you have to look at your business from the top down and use LinkedIn as a force that allows your business to see more opportunities beyond you're just on a website. Because on your website, when you put in your LinkedIn social icon, that link, that social icon button is going to redirect them to a page. If that page is your personal page, that's a missed opportunity because it should be redirecting to your company page where people can follow you. So people are following your company, but they're following your personality, if that makes sense. So there has to be those two disparities, because you are not your business. You and your business are one. Yes, you built it, but your business is an entity that you can easily sell, merge, partner, exit, build, nurture, keep, trade. It's up to you, because that's your intellectual proprietary information. So when you have that on LinkedIn, it also shows that you have that dominance online. So that's another way of you connecting, because you have your Instagram out there, you have your Facebook out there, you have your website, you have your Dun and Bradstreet, like it's all official. No one's doubting that. But the LinkedIn piece is what's not there. And if it's missed, people are like, how, why is this not even there? And then those questions become unanswered. And then before you know, it's crickets, and then nobody shows up. So those are things that I'm trying to get at, so that using this LinkedIn profile for your company, not just your personal, is different. So those are some things to look out for, especially if you have a podcast too. You can connect your RSS feed in your LinkedIn company profile and have automatically push notifications on LinkedIn to your podcast for your company profile. So you're really building an audience from LinkedIn. That's why my podcast grew to 117 countries. Sometimes I wonder, where did these people come from? Like, how do you connect organically to 117 countries with audio? Like, why are they listening? How did they find me? How did they even bump into my profile? What was the first episode that they found? That information is gold to me, because a first time comer, a first time visitor, you want to treat them well. Because if you treat them well, they'll come back. If you treat them terribly, they're not coming back. So when you know those little things, that's when I knew, yeah, LinkedIn is definitely the place. Because I'm writing articles, I'm putting things out there, and people are listening, they're connecting. And then on top of that, they're actually seeing my profile on LinkedIn, and it's big, right? I want to put y'all on game for something that I was not planning to say, but because I think it would be good for you to also use this, is going to be really dope, especially when we're thinking about analytics, because you talked about analytics. So I'm giving y'all this free game right now, but it's not free, because you're either going to have a free trial, or you're going to pay for the service, or you're going to do something that's going to pay for that. So at some point, I mean, free is not really free. And so it's complimentary. Let me just say it like that, because you're getting it, you know, with nice presentation. There's a website called shieldapp.ai that you can use. This is when I knew that my podcast is really taking off, because you can actually literally see LinkedIn analytics with Shield. So it was given to me freely, and I'm gonna give it to y'all freely, because that somebody gave it to me back in 2021 on Clubhouse a long time ago, and I've never talked about it ever. So this is the first time I'm talking about it. I think it's because it's relative, and because Hector, you asked a question about analytics. I said, you know what? Why not? Why not talk about it so that y'all can know? I don't want to hide this from you. I want you to learn about this so that when you know this information, you can do it. But when it's time to get to work, that's the difference. Everybody's analytics is going to look different, right? We can all look at the same picture and draw it, but if you look at everybody's canvas, it's all going to look different, right? So Shield App AI is a great place for you to find it, and it gives you insights on how people connect with you. Do people use text, image, carousel, video? Because when you use carousel, is it also a document? When you use a document, when you upload documents on LinkedIn, that's a great thing. When you upload documents on your website, you know what that does? It gives you anchor strength, because you're literally anchoring text. When you hear anchor text, it's like putting down, like it's like a submarine, right? You're anchoring. You think about an actual anchor on the sea. When you put an anchor by the boat, that thing is on a dock, right? So it's locked in. So when you anchor text, that's why when people even use websites and they put anchors, when you do website development and you put anchors, those anchors take you to the next steps. If it says book now and that page just does its whole dynamic flow and you go to the bottom of the page, that's an anchor, because somebody prompted it for someone to click on this button. It should anchor them here. What does anchor mean? It means standing, dominance, right? So when you have anchor text, right, then that text is heightened. So when you have your page on SEO on business and you're creating your content for people to see, you're literally giving people the opportunity to learn more about you. So if you're putting PDFs on your website with, and this is crazy, on LinkedIn, they tell you to name your file. They tell you to name your PDF. There's a reason why you're using proprietary information on LinkedIn, which is second party data you don't own, but you're putting your first party information or your owned media, which is what you created, because it's owned media, paid media, shared media, and earned media, right? So you're putting your owned media, your own podcast, your own website, your own link, your own page, your own whatever affiliate link. You're putting that into a platform you don't own, right? So what do you get out of that platform you don't own? Information that you can use to allow the people that you want to connect with find you. So when you anchor those texts, you're putting those PDFs and you're putting those words. So when somebody sees how to make social media easy for you, people want to hear those words, right? This workshop is workshops made easy. So when you click the link above, click it, you can put your contact information, and then you choose the kind of workshops that you want to have, right? Do you want to have podcast workshops? Do you want to have SEO workshops, artificial intelligence, email marketing, Pinterest, or advertising? Let me know. When you click that link, it will tell me, because that lets me know exactly, what you need. And then when you do those things, it also gives me the impression, and it also lets me know what you want to learn about as a business, that's going to also help your business thrive, because workshops are it's working capital. It's working things that you can be able to do. I can teach here on Clubhouse all day long. I can talk about this, give you information. I've given you guys some really good tools you've probably never heard of today. And I want you to go use them because I want you to enjoy them as much as I am. And that's why I've gotten to where I am, because of things I'm telling you, because I give information for free. People give it to me for free. When you bless people, you get blessed. There's a law of reciprocity, right? You have to respect people, be good, do good, and just be you. Right. So when you do those things, you never know what's going to happen. Right. I'll give you all some stories about what's happened on LinkedIn for me, which are great just because of interaction and connections like this. Welcome back, Landstronaut. You have to think about your business. So using PDFs is great. So when you use that platform Shield I talked about, how I got to know that a podcast was actually working was anytime I would put a podcast episode, and anytime I did it, it was like in brackets, there's the parentheses, so there's actual, like, I'll call them the brick brackets. Let me put it like that, right? Because there are two types of brackets: the curved ones and the ones that are like rectangular. So I use the rectangular ones, right? And I'll put in their podcast. So when someone sees that, that's the first thing they read. Because whenever you're on social media as a heat map, the first thing someone reads is going to determine how well they're going to stay, how long they're going to stay. So if I read a question there, that question is da 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 da, that question is going to allow me to ask another question, right? So if I put the word podcast and I talk about the podcast and I put a link to it and people click on it, not many people may just click on the link or comment, because what are they going to say? They've not heard the podcast. So what are they going to comment, right? So you can't be mad at them for not leaving a comment, right? But when you start using analytics, it tells you behind the scenes what's really happening. So what I got to discover for my podcast, this was early days, 2021, 22. I was like, wait a minute. Why am I seeing that the post that I talk about just say podcast and maybe two or three lines is getting more attraction than ones that I'm actually saying more things? So I was like, there's a trick to this formula, because I like to be scientific and really understand and break down algorithms, right? Same thing with threads. What I got to know about threads is if you post like two or three, let's say two or three sentences, it's like you get to reach about 90% of your non-followers. But when you write posts that are in paragraphs, you get to reach about 10% of your followers. So when you do the math, how are you going to mix in polls, videos, GIFs, text, long form, images, videos, and the likes, right? How do you do that? If you're doing videos, is that video 30 seconds or is it 6 seconds, right? Those are things to measure, because 6 times 5 is 30. So somebody has to spend 5 times more energy to watch that video for 30 seconds when you could have told them in 6 seconds what you came for. So when you care about people's time and you respect the way you show up online, then it also gives you the ability to connect with them faster because you're creating pathways that are beyond the experience that they're already used to. So using optimization for pages allows you to do that sequentially. And when you use platforms like Shield, you get to see exactly what's happening. So for me, that's what happened. And I got to know, oh, podcasts, people like the podcast episodes. And I would tag the people that I connected with on the podcast because they'll leave a comment, they'll share it. And that's how I was growing my LinkedIn. Now I'm closing on 10,000 followers organically. I don't run ads, but I have an insight tag because that allows me to know. And I've worked with companies and corporations where we've built insight tags for them, and we use LinkedIn as Google information, Google data, right? Because when you have LinkedIn and you create your conversion events on your company website, you're able to gather that information and tells you what people like, what industries they're in, what is their company size. Are you talking to a company that has 500 people, for 50 people, or 5 people? You have to know those things because your language is going to say, it's going to speak. So language is communicated, it's also interpreted, sorry, and it's given in a way that gives you the value of design that allows you to recreate your world by just focusing on the little things that people are asking for in those little spaces. So this is some things to consider when it comes to that as well. So last one, I would love to hear from you. When you look at pages on optimized pages on LinkedIn, how do you determine, like, do you think this company is good to follow? Like, what makes you determine the follow on LinkedIn when it comes to companies?
I physically meet the company first. I don't do exploration too much, so I don't know how good I would be in answering that question thoroughly from an outside perspective, honestly.
That's good. No, thank you for that. That's really good that you said that because you want that human to human interaction. That's why I travel, I work. I make sure I'm like, do you really have a business? Like it's on Google, but is it really out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that really what we're doing? So those are some things that we have to look out for. And that gives you interactions. It lets you know what you're doing. Today I'm connecting with a company. Let me tell you guys this story. This company in San Francisco. They sent me an email on Sunday, and I'm yet to find out because we have our meeting today. But my guess, 90% of that is guess is coming from LinkedIn or from a review because it's happened enough times this week, and I'm like, wow, this is actually happening. So a company reached out to me, and I thought it was a joke because I was like, wow, what did I say that made you want to, email me? Because they saw that, I'm building communities, I'm connecting with people, I'm sharing information, I have a podcast, and they've done their research. So they come along and they're like, okay, let's partner and let's talk about how we can help other people, do quizzes. So in my head, I was like, it's really time to pivot. Because when I think about companies reaching out, I just don't think about, oh, it's a company. I think about what do they stand for? What is their value? What are their corporate standards? What are they doing for the community? Are they helping people? Are they hurting people? Right. So that's my litmus test first. So when I know that it's on the good side, then we can talk. If it's not, then I can tell by the way you even respond back. There's some companies I've seen that in their nightmares, through email. One happened yesterday. I'll tell you that story. It was ridiculous. But you build relationships like that because if you don't stand your ground, they're gonna sit on you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure you stand down for what you really want, and you make sure that you connect. So, and that's for the other story. This one connected.
Um,
Go ahead.
I think the one of the biggest takeaways on my journey is actually corporate etiquette when I do meet them. So the energy you bring, what I notice is the energy that I bring forth is what they remember me as. Um, and there were also like work life situations where I actually worked underneath someone, and as far as like them managing me, and then turned around and became a business owner, and and having to navigate through those situations. What's crazy is one opportunity, I was in a big showroom, and there was a conflict in the other place that I worked at, and that conflict led to one of the employees allegedly taking legal action against that person. And it was really odd, like, because I knew of the character of that person, and what they've done. And it was like, I'm not really much of a pretender. So, like, I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, I know this face. He hands me his card. He's director of business development for some other company that he ran to. And it was just really odd. Like, that kind of situation really happens, especially um in industry where there's not that many people, or the access is very how could I say, it's almost like token gated. Those kinds of things really happen. So it's not just, oh, I'm an employee, or oh, I met this person in this perspective, because you never know. They may end up being your boss. They may end up being a corporate partner, which in the industry, whether you want them to or not, it's like, if you're in the industry of making athletic shoes and there's only like 10 top brand businesses that have access to manufacturing and warehousing, and you're developing this shoe brand, you're going to meet them in a conference, you're going to meet them in a working group, you're going to meet them in business development. So it's navigating those situations before, and realizing that it is a tight, like a niche space even. So yeah.
Thank you. That is true. You have to like pretty much vet them out, or really know like what do they stand for and how do they do business and why they're even in business in the first place. Yeah, definitely that shows. And not everybody's using LinkedIn to do business online. I just, started making taking it seriously this year. And the little I've done this year, I'm like, only imagine if I've been doing this for all this number of years. I was just sitting on LinkedIn, like, yeah, I have a profile, but I'm not using it. Like my last post would be like 4 months ago. I would not be using it. But now there's no way I can pass a week up without being on LinkedIn and actually connecting people, because I'm now getting DMs, I'm getting messages, I'm getting requests for services. I literally got a request for service and I got to get on a call with someone in Berlin. Like it's crazy. That's why I'm not surprised that 117 countries listening to the podcast show, because I'm like, when we don't play, we mean it. We don't play because we are out there. We show up and we make sure more people can get connected, because this information is hard to find when everyone is trying to put 9.99 next to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, can we just tell y'all what to do, and then the strategy is what you pay for, the system is what you pay for. When you hear logos cost $1 million, you're like, this logo cost $1 million. Why? You don't know what went into that logo. You don't know. You just don't. You might assume what did, but you don't know. So when you don't know those things, just respect the brand, respect the culture, respect the business, respect the vision. That's enough. That's the thank you, without saying thank you. So that allows someone to also know, okay, yeah, you've been in business for this long. You've gone through ups and downs, you learn things, but it takes to a point where you actually get to do things. Like for my company, we started hitting those six figures, 3 years in a row. But before that, it was still five figures. It was like, oh, we gotta hit this ceiling, gotta hit this ceiling. I was like, nah, we gotta break that. So now it's six figures year over year, and it's like, okay, what did we do last year that we made this year happen, and next year like that? So it makes it easier to know exactly what we're doing than guessing. Now there's a whole new world of consulting now that has jumped in, and I'm like, okay, this is now where things align. Because yeah, we're doing services. Yeah, of course, there's website management. We build your website. We do your SEO. That's great. What's greater? Now people want advertising services. So what do we do now? Digital billboards. So I put your billboard on the website, on the road, at a gas station, at a bus shelter, at a mall, at the airport, where your audience is, so that you can actually let them QR code scan that, connect with you, actually interact with your brand, bring your brand to come alive. Your brand is alive when people can walk past it and can see you. That's when your brand is alive. because they can actually see your brand. And one thing, when they see your brand, they feel some type of way. If you see Target, you're gonna feel some type of way. If you hear Walmart, you're gonna feel some type of way, right? So why not do it in a way that actually gives you that connection over time? Welcome, Cindy. Glad to have you here. I see you as well, Shay, too. Welcome. You have to create those experiences for people to find your business. If I didn't start a podcast, if I didn't start a podcast, you guys would not be in this room because I'll not be a Clubhouse user. I joined Clubhouse November 24th, 2020, because I started my podcast in August 12th, 2019, and I was trying to figure out how can I talk to people beyond this microphone, because I've been doing music. It's going to be 2 decades next year. And yeah, I make music. I'm a drummer, self-taught. I make music. I write music. I'm a songwriter. I make beats. Now I do jingles. I've done sound designs. I've created concepts for TV. I've done that, right? Commercials, advertisements that are screened on Prime News, great. But what can I bring to the table that I can own? All this stuff are great. I can talk about it, working with Neo, working with Kirby Hilson, working with great people. Yes. But what do you have that you could bring to the table that they did when you were talking about them in that capacity or that capacity, right? So that's why I said, okay, let me push this a little bit further. Let me come on Clubhouse. So I joined Clubhouse, just sitting down, listening to the audience, not saying a thing. And I was realizing people need information here. People need information here. So the very first tool I said on Clubhouse on stage, I can never forget that morning. It was a big stage. Everyone was just talking. This is when like no replays, no hands up in the air. Like it was just basic 101 version 1.0, right? And I just said, hey guys, you know what? If you really want to know your audience, and you really want to know what they're saying or what they're talking about, go to a website called Spark Toro, right? Like Toro, like, when you think about the bulls, sparktoro.com is a website that you can go and get audience intelligence and get to know what people are asking, what people need on, like what people are talking about on YouTube, on podcasts, on LinkedIn. You can literally go in there and do some audience intelligence. Literally, hashtags, check it out. It's sparktoro.com. Right. I told people on stage, that was the very first thing I said. And I was like, wait a minute, I need to speak more. And those were the days on Clubhouse when they used to be called clubs. Yeah, because now they are houses. They used to be called clubs. That's why this is called Marketing Club. It hasn't changed to Marketing House. That's why it's called Club. This has been since 2021, right? So doing Clubhouse was a thing, right? So I was like, okay, let's talk about it here. And on Clubhouse then, you needed to run rooms and actually do time, right? You actually had to do time on the app. You had to do screen time on the app to actually unlock. It was so cool. It's like gamification. I have to do 3 hours to get to open one house or one club then. So the first club I created on Clubhouse was Pinterest and SEO marketing. It's still here. So I actually created it August 2021 when I took the summer to build a course because people kept asking me about Pinterest. They're like, what is Pinterest? How do you use Pinterest? I started doing rooms on Pinterest and I was like, you guys can do Pinterest without SEO. You can be on Pinterest pinning stuff when you're not claiming stuff. So I started really getting deep into it and people started asking, yes, Hector. Yeah, I started doing that. And then from Clubhouse, that's where we are today. Now everyone's asking about SEO and podcasts. How do you do this? How do you do that? So it starts from somewhere. And here we are today. So if I didn't have a vision of a podcast or doing an alter ego from my music initially, because I was like, yeah, music is great, but I want to talk to people. Like, can I talk to somebody? So if it wasn't for podcasting, I would not be on Clubhouse. I would not be on Chatter. I would not be on social audio. I'd probably have figured it out later, but that would not have happened because knowing myself, I'm an early adopter. I'm an alpha tester, even before beta testers. That's why I'm also in this alpha test, groups, because I'm like, I can definitely see what's happening. I like to break things down and make them back up. So that's the story. And LinkedIn is part of it. So if you're on LinkedIn, you should use LinkedIn for good things and don't spam people's messages. Leave good comments, leave your 2 cents, and those platforms can really give you, the juice. Hector, I was wanting to know, why were you staring at me like that? What were the eyes for?
That was on something you just finished saying right there. I forgot what it was because I started reading something else.
No worries. No worries. Thanks for putting that in the chart, lovely. Yes, that's the website. That's the website. Please check that website out. You guys will be so happy you did. And my card is in the chat too. If you click on that purple card, that is my business card. So you can connect with me there too. You know, use this platform. It's audience research. There's no way any business can be sustainable or even scaling if they don't do research. Like, they ain't no way. Like, Amazon, Tesla, Google, Microsoft, these big companies, they think in decades. They think in decades and they act in decades. They don't think in years. Yeah, you have a year over year, quarter over quarter report. Yeah, you have a fiscal report. Yeah, you have your quarter ones, your starts in October. Great. But that marketing plan, that business plan, that financial plan, those three things have to make, it's literally they have to sing a song. It's like a tripod. They have to stand on those three legs to make sure that it can stand upright and you can actually use a camera. You can use what's standing on it because you actually have dominance on the ground. You have your feet down, right? So those things are very important. Thank you, Nelly and Hector. You have to think about those things long term, right? I'm so happy, Hector, you actually created a company profile today, because I'll call back to you maybe a week from now, a month from now, and ask you how's that doing, because you'll see a difference in your business on LinkedIn. And create a LinkedIn newsletter on top of that for your profile, because if you have articles on your website and you're bringing them into your LinkedIn, don't bring the whole house in. Just take the window. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's 1,000 words, take 250. Put that 250, partition it, put it into LinkedIn newsletter. It's a newsletter, it's a bulletin, it's a news bulletin. When I tell you a headline news, I'm not going to tell you a 5-minute story. I'm going to tell you a 5-second story. So if I can put that in a quick sequence and then send you to the website where it's actually hosted, then that's where we're getting first party data. Because a lot of people put LinkedIn newsletters, they throw the whole text in there. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you really doing? First of all, they're not going to read it. They might, 1%, 10%, but not everybody. If everybody, then hats off to you, right? But you're missing out on that same opportunity they could be reading on your website that you could actually gather screen time. Some websites don't even have heat maps. Like, how do you determine what you're paying for on a year over year basis when you're not applying these stuff? Someone will say, oh, I'm doing social media marketing, I'll do SEO later. What does that even mean? I've heard these things, they're horror stories. Because I'm like, you're going to social media to spend money on a VA who's going to help you post content on a platform that you don't own. And then you expect to get results over time and increase your cost per acquisition, or just have some type of level field that can give you more data over time that can actually evaluate that, and you can retarget them back into your social media when you upload their contacts into your social feeds, right? It's called a social feed. You're feeding. Like, when you feed a baby, you're feeding a baby in little chunks, in little pieces. You're not feeding a baby. I said, yes, you can't feed a baby a turkey. It's not possible. So you feed the algorithm because the algorithm doesn't know you. It's like credit. If you have 15 days credit history and your competitor has 15 years credit history, who's going to win? Who's going to get that loan? Who's going to get that line of credit? Who's going to get that business? Who's going to get that grant? Right? You have to start from the base, because if you people are looking at the bigger picture and you're thinking about your business long term beyond now, then the platform that you should start thinking about is a podcast. You can have a faceless podcast. That's totally fine. Somebody asked me the other day, oh, how do I do this if I don't want to be seen? I'm like, you can easily do it. You can interview people anonymously. They can make them sign waivers, sign, NDAs, whatever it is that you have to do to protect them. And that way you can record, you can, connect with them and do episodes, but you don't have to disclose or tell people who their names are. You can hear their stories. So that could be anonymous. 100%. You just have the title and you hear voices, but you don't know who the voice is, right? So those are things you can do, right? So there's really no limit. You're limiting yourself because you probably don't believe in what you're doing. But if you really believe in yourself, then a lot can happen for you long term. So if you want to optimize your pages for SEO on LinkedIn, create a LinkedIn company profile that matches your business. Because when you have a LinkedIn company profile, you also have a date, right? We just celebrated 11 years, and literally I got an automatic post from LinkedIn celebrating 11 years at, Working Play Entertainment, and getting different reactions on LinkedIn, and people commenting, people going to the chat, people are commenting, they're saying congratulations, and it's great. For me, I'm like, we got to keep going, guys. We got to keep going. When it's your birthday on LinkedIn, everyone's saying happy birthday. We got to keep going, right? We don't stop at happy birthday. We go on because we have to keep moving. We have to make sure that, okay, now we've crossed another mile. This is another milestone. What can we do? How can we make this happen? And how can we build? The more we're able to build, the better. Right now, I'm literally doing billboard advertising for a company. She's into real estate. She's in the real estate business, and we're building a website for her. We're in the process of getting that started because she's been told by her client she gets ratings. I said, okay, let me Google your name. Let's see what we find. I find HAR, find Zillow, I find Realtor.com, I find, all the brand names you can find, all the great companies that you can see, right? But what's missing? Her website and her LinkedIn company profile, right? Because everybody's going to inquire services for her business on another property. It's like me coming to your house looking for business on your property. What does that look like? you know, like where to do that at? So you create an experience, right? So I told her, we need to get a website for you, because if your website is at the top of this list, it means that your name is at the top of the list. You have something called a URL. A URL is so underrated. What is a URL? A URL is a uniform resource locator. That's the definition. That's the acronym of a URL. Hey, what's your URL? That's what it stands for. Uniform Resource Locator. Location, resource, right? Uniform. When you wear uniform, when you see a military uniform, when you see a school uniform, when you see, you know, a waitress uniform, a waiter uniform, when you see a flight attendant uniform, when you see a police uniform, when you see, a lab coat, when you see that, you don't even have to ask them, what do you do? Are you an engineer? Are you a doctor? And you're looking at them right in the face. Are you a dentist? Like you can see it. It's a location. You can locate it. Turn right, turn left, right? So that's what I told her. I was like, this is simply it. And she's trying to sell homes. She does sell homes. She sells homes. Happy hump day, y'all. Happy. I know it's interesting, You think about the long-term effect, right? The long-term effect. And this is the thing I ask people. There's a price and there's a cost. What's the price of you signing up to this workshop? It doesn't cost you a thing. Right? Well, what's the price of the actual venue? What's the price of the virtual workshop? I'm going to start doing in-person workshops. So that's why I want you guys to sign up for exclusive updates when those things come, because that's coming. I'm going to start doing SEO in-person workshops, and I'm going to bring some people too. It's not just going to be me. So it's going to be exciting. So sign up so that I can get you to where you need to go. And if you need somebody to connect you with, I can refer you to someone, or we can do it for you. Right? So I told her, hey, this is what we need to do, because we do billboard advertising and we do zip code marketing. Another client was telling us that a company was charging them, almost charged them, because I told them not to even go near that. A traditional billboard for $3,000 on the road for a billboard for a month. I was like, nah, bruh. That's old SEO ways. This you can't do that now. I would take $1,000, get 4 boards, split the cost 250, 250, 250, 250. Find 4 digital billboards, which is what we're doing now. I'm actually telling you what's happening. 4 digital billboards, and then find which one out of these 4 billboards on this exit, on that street, in this corner, on that district, and find out within this zip code, where do people interact the most? Where do people spend time looking the most? Is it a Kroger? Is it in a gas station? Is it in a gym? So we found a gym and we found a Kroger at this prime place for her, where homes there, like she even said, Google this zip code. I did. She's like, homes here is like $1 million, 800,000, 750, and these are the people that go to this Kroger, this gym. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's work with affinity, because when people work out, they go to LA Fitness. After they're done, they're probably going to go to Kroger, do some grocery shopping before they get back home, right? So you start thinking in in time frequencies, right? What time does somebody go to the gym in the morning? 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or after work, maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, right? So when you're running ads on those billboards, the people that you're running ads to tells you the kind of people that you're connecting with, right? So when we do it in the morning, we know these people just want to work, get to work, shower, even at the gym, and drive to work, right? So you know these people are in business. So if these people have homes at this price, or they want to live in these homes, or maybe they drive to this location because they want to live close by, because people also pick zip codes because of where they want to live based on the school, right? If it's a good school, it's a good district, it's good security. Even when you go to find a house, you drive to go to find a house in the daytime and at nighttime. I learned that from somebody at the gym, and he was talking to me, and he's an elderly guy, and I respect that wisdom he gave me. Like, when you go to find a house, go drive during the daytime and drive during the nighttime and see what it looks like. I was like, oh, word, okay. It sounds like basic information, but I think will save your life. You need to know your streets. Does it have street lights? Don't, like, you got to ask those questions. So just gathering information, boom, 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 boom. I said, okay, you know what? If we're gonna do ads on this street, in this fitness center, and in this Kroger, then we need to run ads for this number of periods of time. And she's like, okay, but before we run those ads, we don't want to shoot blanks, right? We want to build your website first, get you a system, an operating system. So when you show up at a billboard or a digital board at LA Fitness in that zip code, then you can connect with people. If you're at the airport, we can put it at the airport and says, this person, her name welcomes you to Houston, because I'm in Houston, or welcomes you to New York, or welcomes you to LA. You have that as a billboard. They're like, who is that person? Let me take a picture. Let me scan that code. Now that brand is alive. Now, if 3,000 people are walking through that aisle every hour, only God knows how many people you can connect with on a 30-day cycle if you really know who you're trying to target. So that's what we're doing now. So instead of her running ads to a billboard that has a home with 350K, we can do the same thing, apply the same energy, and do it for a house that is 750, and she can make that back. So it's quality over quantity. So we got 3 more minutes before we wrap this up. I got to get on a call. I have some business calls to make, and I wanted to start off the room and make sure that everybody understands what we're doing, because tomorrow we're going to be here again at 8 a.m. Central talking about our websites relevant for 2025 and how do I secure my data. We're going to talk about that, you know, and we're going to make it happen for sure. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Hector, would you like to say anything before we go? What's one thing you let people know about today if they were to leave the room?
Take action immediately so you don't have to do it later. So as you can tell, the call is over and I'm done with just be done with it. So you don't have to talk about it anymore.
That part, we do the action. We can't be talking all day. We got to make things happen, right? So that's why I'm showing you, I'm giving you guys case studies. So, this is how we do things. So I'll tell you all this story in 2 minutes before we wrap this up, because I got to jump on a call. Yesterday, I said this yesterday. So if you listen to this series, you've probably heard the story. If you haven't heard it, this is new to you. This will also help you make decisions better. So a company reached out to me through email, and they wanted to kind of pick my brain for an hour. And they were like, okay, they didn't say the price until we got on the call. And I said, okay, how much do you charge? I said, I charge 1,000 an hour. Why? Because that has happened before. A company paid, we didn't even finish the hour and they paid in full. So I said, okay, this company, that's the price. They're like, oh, we don't have that budget. I was like, okay. Um, okay. We said our budget is 150. I was like, no, that's cool. I can't do that. They were like, huh? I was like, I can't do what? You're going to talk to me for an hour for 150? I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm on Clubhouse for 3 hours, 5 hours for free. Respectfully, like I give my time quality. I make sure you get what you came for. Right? So I was like, nah, okay, let's do 500. They're like, okay, let's do 350. We came down to 350, and we said, okay, let's do it for 350. We got in the call, is for the hour, but I'm like, I didn't sign up to pay for the hour. I signed up to pay with the information. So as soon as the hour dropped, I was timing it because it was a transcribed call with an investor, and they found me on LinkedIn. right? Because I left a review in January about a company that I connected with the founder in Silicon Valley. Like, it's crazy when you think about leaving reviews as a company back on LinkedIn. This is all going back to LinkedIn company profiling, right? So we finished the call, and I'm like, why is this call? Why'd y'all pay me 175 in the invoice? Like, what's going on here? So I emailed the person back. I'm like, excuse me, sir. I know I didn't talk to you. I talked to your teammate, but we agreed for this price for this call. They were like, oh no, because the call is prorated. I was like, first, y'all didn't tell me that. Secondly, I agreed to this call because of the price. The price is not even the price y'all are supposed to be paying, right? For the information, because they were trying to ask about AI and marketplace and an app and everything. So it was really very detailed. So, and I'm not going to disclose the company. So I finished talking to them and everything, and I was like, yo, you got to change that invoice because I'm not clicking accept terms and conditions because I didn't accept even the price in the first place. So he said, oh, no, that's the policy. I was like, you know what? I've talked to your team member and I've told her that we've agreed on a price because they actually want to work with me. They actually want to do more calls. So literally, as I was getting off that call, they're scheduling me for another call for another one. And now this one is going to be,
Why would they want
you
to
know what
do
I'm
dollars
saying?
an hour? Exactly.
I was like, y'all tripping. Go check my podcast. We have over 420 episodes. We got listen time. So I'm only giving you 30 minutes. Nah, you got to pay for that. And then they were like, oh, we're sorry about that. Here's your invoice for 350. So they actually ended up paying it. They're like, oh, put your accounting number and everything. I was like, yeah, because if I said, okay, 175, yay, then everybody's happy. No. Nobody's really happy because y'all are happy because you guys took my time and then you've divided the time in half. Nah. So now they know. So anytime they get on a call, they're like, okay, this guy, put them in the system. That's the price. And because they get about close to 10 projects a day, think about how much that is per call in a month. So that's something I didn't even ask for because they found me on LinkedIn. They found my company profile. They found my review, giving good reviews to another company. So you pay it forward, right? I paid with currency and time. It came back in measures 9 months later, right? So I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you, but these kind of stories is what really motivates me because I know that somebody out there is watching, looking, thinking, and connecting. This is San Francisco. So I even checked their zip code and I'm like, okay, boom, now I know. And my podcast, San Jose, San Francisco, is where my top listeners are for my podcast. So it only makes sense to get business from there. Like, I'm not surprised. It's not like, oh, how did you find me? It's right there because it's in the analytics. So the more you're able to really know who you're talking to, connecting with, the more you're able to see those things. So if you want to really get into these things, it helps you further. You can start right now and you can start, taking yourself to the top. So thank you, Hector, for that insight. Derek, Cindy, I see you. Thank you for being here. Sack Black, Bianca, appreciate you. Soda, Rua, Fran, Carla, Sister Girl, Digital on the set. Appreciate you all for being here. I got to jump off, but I love you guys. We'll be here tomorrow. And I hope this helps you take action. Take action. Make sure you wap your business. Make sure you get it out there. Give people the business. Let people know that you are the business. You're the person that started something for them, and that's why you can both succeed because you're both doing it intentionally to help more people at a larger scale. Because God don't help those who don't help themselves. So you got to help yourself by helping others and being of service. Be a blessing, not a threat, and not don't be a couch potato. So I will see you guys and I'm gonna catch you on the other side. God bless. Take care. Bye for now.